EOS Homes, and welcome to our YouTube channel. As we introduced a couple of months ago, we were waiting to start this perfect project to demonstrate a complete house build from ground up. And this particular project is perfect because we're going to be building two different types of buildings. One being a shop, but it's kind of a real fancy shop because the owners are going to store show cars. So it's going to be a fully finished shop and insulated to home values. It will have a kitchenette in it as well as a little half bath, and it's going to be fully heated and air conditioned. And then secondly, over in that area of the property, we're going to be building their house, and we'll do that after, or once we get the shop started, we'll get the house started. And the nice thing about these two buildings is this one's going to be on what's called a monolithic slab, so it's one pour, whereas in the house that will have a crawl space, so it will have a standard house foundation. So as you can see here, we've started the form up process for the shop, and there's different ways to do this, but in our region we have a pretty mild climate. The depth of our footing is 18 inches, and it's going to be eventually 12 inches below the finished grade. The finished grade will come in right about here, 6 inches below the top. We have different types of forms. In this case, we chose to use 2x6s, and these 2x6s are tied together by these 1x6s. And then you can see we've started the staking process. We'll kind of show you periodically as we do this how this is all going to be braced back. And one of the things you want to keep in mind, concrete puts a tremendous amount of pressure on forms, so you really have to have strength and backing to hold those forms in place so they don't move during the pour. This is a 30 by 50 shop. In this area beyond is going to be a 20-foot carport. So that'll be, we'll show you that when we get to it. So that's a part of the building as well. It all has one roof over the top of it. So to start the process, we got a bunch of crushed rock. This is a combination of 1¼ inch base, and then on top of it is what's called 5/8 minus. It's just related to the size of the rock, and it's also got fines in there so you can compact it. So you can see this has all been brought in here with dump trucks, and then it was leveled out to grade by our excavator, and then the footings were dug out around the perimeter because your footing has to support the building. Our footings in the shop have to be a minimum of 12 inches wide. The outer footing has got to be 18 inches deep, and then it slopes up so that when we pour this cement in here, we've got a minimum of 4 inches of slab over the entire surface. Back to the form up. You can see we've got our forms all put together, and again they're 2x6s that are tied together, and then our corners are tied together and screwed in, and we measured exactly 50 feet and exactly 30 feet. So we have a rectangle, and then the next process is you're going to make sure your building is square. Okay, so you remember Dennis over here? He's got his sun's out, guns out. And then we got Nate. Nate's our other worker. What they're going to demonstrate is how to square up any rectangle or any square building. The way you square it up is you want to make sure that the distance between the corners, both diagonals, are equal. So what we're going to do is,
Put a foot!
you want to pull that tape nice and tight. And you want to make sure you use a metal tape.
59.3.
So 59 foot 3 inches is the one measurement.
Burn a foot! Burn a foot!
Okay, so we like to burn a foot because the end of the tape isn't always perfect. Okay, so we had 59.3 for that first diagonal. This side is 59 foot 7. So there's a 4-inch difference in those diagonals. And so what we want to do is we want to shorten this distance, and the way to shorten that is to move the whole side 2 inches that way, because we're off by a total of 4. So if we move that 2 inches that way, it'll increase that diagonal by 2, and it will decrease this one by 2. You can sledge it down, or you can, if it's a greater distance, sometimes we'll just pull the form, and then the last half inch or so we'll tap it. Okay, so we're going to check our final check to make sure we're equal.
59.5.
59.5.
Pull it tight. 59.5.
Okay, so we got equal. Now what we want to do to finish the square up process, we're going to drive a stake, 2x4 stake on all 4 corners. Once we're done with that, we're going to start straightening the sides so they're perfectly straight between the corners. We'll show that next. Okay, so we staked out all of our corners, and now we're ready to begin the process of getting this side perfectly straight and getting our 2x4 stakes driven. In this case, we're going to drive these at 24-inch intervals all across the side, and then we'll back brace them, and we'll show you that when we get to that point. But the best way to straighten out any wall or form or anything that you require it to be perfectly straight is to use a string line between the 2 corners. We're using duplex nails. In this case, these are 8-penny duplex, and we're going to put the nail back from the side that we want to straighten, and then we have these temporary 1x2 stakes nailed to the inside of the form. And the reason we do that, a couple of reasons: we want the string to be off of our edge, so this form doesn't interrupt, doesn't hit. Like if it were hitting in the middle of the string, it would push your string out. So we keep it, a stake is a nice way to keep that string clear of the form edge. And so we do that on both sides, and you can see along here the string is stretched. So we have the same kind of setup on that corner. And then what we'll do is pull that string real tight between the 2 sides. Okay, I just want to show you real quick an easy way to stretch string without tying knots off, and it's easy to get off after you're done. Just take the string between your index finger and your middle finger, twist it about 4 or 5 times, and then put it around your nail that you want to tie it to, and pull it. Okay, then you go to the other end, do the same thing, and then pull the string tight, and then just wrap it around 3 or 4 times, and it'll stay. Okay, so next we've got our string line attached. We're going to go ahead and straighten the form to the string line. What I want to do is check the stake and run it up right next to that string, and as you can see, the form is a little bit in. So what I'm going to do is push the form out so it's perfectly even with the stake, is even with the string, and now I'm going to drive that stake down. You want to put some pressure on it so it stays straight. Okay, and that's how you do it. You do it all along the string line, and then you'll get a perfectly straight side.